So, the 2024 John Locke Essay Competition is now open for entry, which is very exciting. And I'm just going to quickly read out some key points from this, which you can see on the website. What they want is independent thought, depth of knowledge, clear reasoning, critical analysis, and persuasive style. So, those are the key words that I want you to bear in mind when we are going through today's past essay winner, and to see how they've been persuasive, how they've been critical, and how have they managed to show to the examiner or the marker that they have both a lot of knowledge but also a sense of independent thought and originality. So bear that in mind. In the second paragraph, I want to point out one more point, which is not only does the essay competition build knowledge, but it can refine your argumentation skills. And that's a really interesting point to pick up on, because this isn't just about writing an essay and showing as much psychological knowledge as possible. It's about showing, okay, I've got all this knowledge, I've got all these studies, I've read all this information. How are you going to refine that into a persuasive argument to show the examiner that you are not only a scientist, but you are thinking like a researcher who writes articles and persuades people of their practice? So, how do you do well at this? This is what's set out on the John Locke website. So, I'm not going to go through everything bit by bit, you can find it all online, but I think there's a few bits that are worth highlighting. So, I think this is the first year that I've seen this involved in the mark scheme, but plagiarism is a big one to watch out for. So they have various means to identify plagiarism, cheating, and the use of AI or other forms of fraud. So if you're caught using, ChatGPT or AI or another form of plagiarism, if you're copying someone else's work, or your work isn't necessarily original and you're copying and pasting from a journal article or a scientific study, then they will catch that out, so just don't do it. Simple as that. I'm sure your thoughts are better anyway. Next important point is essays will be judged on knowledge, understanding, competent use of evidence, argumentation, originality, structure, writing style, and persuasive force. Very wordy, I know, but we'll go through those more in depth in a bit in what they mean exactly. The very best essays, which is what we're trying to achieve today, because we want you to win, are likely to be those which would be capable of changing somebody's mind. So again, it's going back to the idea of being persuasive. So rather than just setting out, all of the evidence, all of the knowledge, it's about being really persuasive, having a really clear and concise argument that is very easy to follow. So structure and argumentation is just as important as content. Basically, read the question and answer the question is how I'd like to sort of summarise it. And then some more technical bits at the bottom. Each essay must address only one of the questions in the chosen subject category. You can't go over 2,000 words, and you should not use footnotes. You can add endnotes or a bibliography, which is titled, and we'll go over that very briefly later on as well. So I've just done a quick summary of the success criteria, and I'll share this later and you can sort of come back to this if this is useful for you. So again, I guess you could just sort of separate these into originality, original thought, independent thought, writing style, so clear, persuasive, and original as well, and then knowledge. So how are you using evidence? How are you finding your psychological studies, and then how are you communicating them? How are you choosing which ones to talk about and which ones not to talk about? And how are you explaining them and linking them back to the question? So bear those things in mind when we review the past winning essay.